What is going on, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be going through the 2025 college football schedule for the Florida Gators. I'm going to go through every game on their schedule and predict their 2025 record. But before we do that, let's just talk about this Florida team and who they have back. This is a Florida team that has a decent amount of return in production. They returned 64% of the production from last season. They had a great end to last season. They beat LSU and Ole Miss. They also had a dominant bowl victory over Tulane. They had a young rising star at quarterback in DJ Lagway, who was a 5-star. And honestly, if it wasn't for Lagway, I don't think this team would have been a bowl team. I don't think Billy Napier would have kept his job. DJ Lagway really brought that offense together. And in the back half of the season, when DJ Lagway was on the field, they were playing very good football, and the defense was consistent at the end of the year. I'm very high on DJ Lagway heading into next season. It's impressive what he did in year one with all the pressure on his shoulders. But he has another full spring of practice. He's going to be much more prepared next season. Florida has one of the top backfields in the country with Jacoby Jackson and Jaden Bogg. They have a very solid offensive line, and they do have some options at wide receiver. They got Eugene Wilson back. And they also add Michael Sturdivant from UCLA. He's at over 900 receiving yards for UCLA the last 2 seasons. He's not a big name, but regardless, he's another reliable target. I don't think they're going to have an elite receiver room, but they do have a quarterback in DJ Lagway who can elevate their receivers. Defensively, this was a young squad that really put it together last season, and they got some good pieces definitely returning in the secondary. With Bryce Thornton, DeJohn Johnson, and Sheriff Denson, they don't have super great depth on defense, but I do expect them to be really solid because they got some young talented freshmen who could step up. And of course, I would be stupid not to mention the true freshman wide receiver that they have. I wouldn't be surprised if the 5-star Dallas Wilson at wide receiver started for this team. Overall, this is a really solid squad. They do have a brutal schedule, but they have some games to show their potential. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into predicting their schedule. They will open the season in week 1 with a matchup against LIU. This will be an easy win for Florida against an FCS opponent. LIU has been a pretty bad FCS team in recent memory. They actually went 4-8 last season, and they started last season 0-6 even with a loss to TCU, a shutout loss. So I don't see any reason for LIU to even put up a fight in this game. Give me Florida big. They will then play USF at home. And although I don't see South Florida winning this game, South Florida is still a pretty solid team. I think they're one of the more underrated group of 5 teams. They haven't been great in recent memory, but they've made a couple of bowl games. Their head coach Alex Golesh has turned this team into an okay team in the group of 5, and they're recruiting at a very good level. The next season, they have some good return in production. They're 11th in the country. They got their quarterback and Byron Brown back, and they got some good pieces joining the team through the portal. They picked up some solid pieces on offense like Moody Rubin and Chas Nimrod. They also got a pretty good back in Cartavius Norton. This is a team to watch in the American. I think they could be solid, but I am going to take Florida to win this game and move to 2-0. Florida will then have to play LSU on the road in Death Valley. This will be a super tough road matchup for them. LSU also plays Clemson early in the season. I did have LSU drop in that game, but after a couple of weeks into the season, I think some of the transfers that LSU added are going to gel. I really think this LSU team is going to be a legit SEC title contender. They got a veteran at quarterback returning in Garrett Nussmeier. They have an elite receiving core. They already bring back Chris Hilton Jr. and Aaron Anderson, who was a stud, but they add Nick Anderson and Barrion Brown, 2 of the top receivers out of the portal. They should have a pretty solid offensive line. They added some good transfers, and they have young talent. But defensively is where I think the work is really going to show. Blake Baker is a great DC. They add Jack Pyburn. They add Patrick Payton. They add Mansour Dulaney. Some very good additions on defense. They didn't just add guys who should be good, but they added guys who could be All-Americans. They also get Harold Perkins Jr. back. If he stays healthy, he'll be a monster. Whit Weeks is back as well. This defense is just very good. They took a big step forward last season, and next season they have a way better roster on defense. I could see them having a top 20, top 15 defense in the nation. Look, I think this team is legit. And I think Florida does have some question marks. I know they had a good end to last season, but you can't really write off of just the momentum they had last season. Overall, when I look at the rosters, I think LSU has the better team. I think Florida loses this game on the road and moves to 2-1. Isn't this a brutal slate of games? Not only do they play LSU on the road, but the following week they have to turn around and play Miami on the road, another top 15 team in the country possibly, and another very talented roster. Look, I think it's no question mark that this Miami team has some big holes. Last season, the defense really got exposed, especially in the secondary. Offensively, they had the best offense in the ACC, no questions asked. They had an elite offense with Cam Ward at quarterback, but they lost Cam Ward and all of their top wide receivers. They lost their top back in Damian Martinez, and they really have to reload. They added a guy like Carson Beck, though, so they got another experienced quarterback. I think he'll be fine in that system. And defensively, I think the defense will take a step forward. They added some good pieces in the secondary. I think they'll be much better in the back end. They add Zachariah Poyser, Xavier Lucas, and Charles Brantley. They added some good 4 stars in the secondary. So I'm kind of thinking with this Miami team, they're going to take a step back offensively. They just lost way too much. But I think defensively, they take a step forward. And I think they absolutely have the roster to beat Florida. But I am going to say Florida wins one of the 2 road games. I think DJ Lagway will be good enough in this game to get this win on the road in year 2. They got embarrassed last season. I think they're going to be looking for revenge. I think they have what it takes to beat Miami on the road and move to 3-1. Florida will host Texas at home after a bye week, and this has to be one of the most underrated games heading into next season. I think we have a lot to learn about these 2 teams. If Florida is able to beat Texas, they will be able to beat anybody. And Texas, if they can get this win on the road comfortably, they could be a legit national title contender. And honestly, I have questions with Texas. They just lost so much on offense. They got a good 1-2 in Ryan Wingo and DeAndre Moore, but outside of those 2 guys, they really need receivers to step up. They got a good backfield, but Arch Manning at quarterback is a question mark. I know he showed some good things last season, but he hasn't started a full season for this team. He has not been the go-to guy, so we still have a lot to learn about him. They also lost some very good offensive linemen. So offensively, they could struggle again. They had some issues on offense last season. But defensively, when I look at the Texas roster, I think they have an elite defense, probably the best in the country if I'm being honest. They got an elite linebacker core with Anthony Hill Jr. and Trey Moore. And in the secondary, they are very good with Michael Taffy, Malik Muhammad, and Jelani McDonald. From the defensive line to the secondary, they are elite at every level. The defensive tackle might be a question mark, but they added some good pieces out of the portal. I'm really high in this defense, and I think Texas has what it takes to beat this Florida team on the road. I think this could be a big game for Florida. If they are able to upset Texas, we have to take them seriously. But when I evaluate these rosters, I still think Florida has some steps to take, and I don't think they're quite at that elite SEC level yet. Give me Texas to beat Florida. I have Florida moving to 3-2. I said the 2-game stretch of Florida playing LSU and Miami on the road was tough, but honestly, it really doesn't stop there. They play Texas, and then they play on the road at Texas A&M. They have a brutal 4-game stretch where they could play top 15 teams every single game, maybe top 10. Texas A&M is actually a team I'm pretty high on. Terry Bussey and Casey Concepcion should be one of the best receiver duos in the SEC. They also add Mario Craver. He's a solid addition. I think the receiver room is going to be improved. They also got Amari Niblack, and they truly have a very good running back room with Le'Veon Moss and Ruben Owens. And Marcel Reed is a guy that can really use his legs, and if he improves as a passer next season, this offense could be dangerous. Defensively, they should be solid. Mike Elko is a good head coach. I think this team could take a step forward and maybe be a sneaky playoff contender. I'm going to say Florida has the better quarterback in this game. I think DJ Lagway can get it done on the road. And I think Texas A&M still has some question marks in the secondary. They had some games where they got exposed, and they didn't do much to address those issues. This one's really a tough one to beat, but Florida has been battle tested. I think they get a close win on the road at Texas A&M. I have them moving to 4-2. They will then play Mississippi State at home. Florida will finally get a rest from brutal competition. Mississippi State is a team that does have some offensive upside, but defensively they are one of the worst in the Power 4. I don't see Florida having any issues in this game at home. Give me Florida to win this game and move to 5-2. Florida will then get a big game. They play Georgia at a neutral site matchup in Jacksonville. This game really could have been a different story last season if DJ Lagway didn't get hurt. They were leading and DJ Lagway got injured and Florida lost their lead. So next season, Florida might be looking for redemption in this game, and this could be another one of those games where they show that they are an elite playoff contender. Do I think they get it done against this Georgia team? I don't think so. It's funny how Georgia didn't play up to their standard last season, and they kind of struggled, but they still ended up winning the SEC. They had some struggles on the offense, but Kirby Smart did a good job coaching, and he's definitely done a good job in the portal this offseason. I think they are going to have a good reload year. They add two very good receivers in Zachariah Branch and Noah Thomas, and they got their top receivers back from last season and Oscar Delp at tight end. They add Josh McCray at running back, one of the top running backs from the Big Ten. They got Nate Frazier back as well. The only area of concern on offense is the quarterback position. I think the offense is going to be much improved, and the defense should be pretty good. We know what to expect with this Georgia team. I absolutely think they're a national title contender. I think people are way too low on this team, and I don't see Florida being able to get this upset. I think they lose this game and move to 5-3. The following week, Florida will have to go on the road to play Kentucky. The only teams that really struggle on the road at Kentucky is Georgia. Jokes aside, I don't see Florida losing this game. Kentucky shouldn't be that great next season. I think they'll be better, but there's still so many holes on that team. So give me Florida to win that game and move to 6-3. But the following week, they will have to play at Ole Miss, another very tough road game for this Florida team. And although I am expecting Ole Miss to take a step back, they lost so much NFL talent last season, and they do kind of have to reload next season. I do think Ole Miss has what it takes to get this win at home. I think Austin Simmons is going to be a good quarterback for them. I think he'll be playing good football at the end of the season. And the SEC road grind is not going to be easy, and this Florida team might have the toughest SEC schedule. Their schedule's brutal, and Ole Miss is going to be a good team even if they take a step back. I don't see Ole Miss completely falling off. Lane Kiffin uses the portal at a very good level. They still have some good receiving talent, and the defense should be pretty good. Overall, I expect this team to be solid. I think they'll be able to compete with the top teams in the SEC, and I think they'll be able to beat Florida in this game. I think Florida moves to 6-4. I'm also expecting Tennessee to take a step back. Florida will play Tennessee at home, and Tennessee actually has not beaten Florida on the road in over 15 years. And I don't think they have great chances of beating this Florida team on the road next season. They lost their quarterback in Nico Iamaleava. They had one of the biggest turnovers in the SEC in return and production. Now last season, they just really didn't play anybody. The good teams that they did play, they didn't even stand a chance against. I know they had that win over Alabama, but Alabama was just not playing good football near the end of last season. I think Tennessee was overrated last season. The defense was pretty good, but the secondary really got exposed. And I still think there's holes with this Tennessee team, and they lost an elite running back in Dylan Sampson. So there's a lot of work to do with this team. I think Joey Aguilar will be good. I don't think Tennessee will be really good. I think Florida wins this game and moves to 7-4. The following week, they will get their in-state rival Florida State at home. Although Florida State should be better next season, I still have to take Florida. I think they're steps ahead of that Florida State roster. I think Florida State will have a chance in this game, but I do have to roll with Florida. Just knowing how bad Florida State was last season, it's hard to turn around and pick Florida State this season. I know they got Thomas Castellanos at quarterback. He should really fit into that offensive system with Gus Malzahn. But we got to remember, he actually got benched at Boston College. I think Gus Malzahn will make the best out of him, but I don't think he's going to be a super difference maker for Florida State. And they still have holes and some questions on offense. I think they'll be a solid team, maybe make a bowl game, but I don't see them beating Florida on the road. Give me Florida to win this game and move to 8-4 on the season. So maybe 8-4 is not what Florida fans are looking for, but realistically, that would be a good season knowing where this Florida team was 2 years ago and knowing how brutal of a schedule they have next season. I know they got some experience and some guys that have played together, but I don't think they have the same caliber of a roster like other teams in the SEC. And I think they are going to take some losses next season. The schedule is just too tough. I don't see them making the playoffs. DJ Lagway would have to be a Heisman finalist and have a monstrous year. And you know, it is possible, but I do think it's a long shot. So I have the Florida Gators at 8-4. But anyways, you guys leave your prediction for the Florida Gators down in the comments below. Now let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you'll love this channel because we upload a ton of college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing. and also consider checking out my socials down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.